Have you ever wondered why Christians believe in a good God when there's so much suffering? Have you ever thought that Christianity is for naive optimists who just haven't seen and been through the things that you've seen and been through? Have you ever asked, why would a good God let me suffer so much? That's a good question. And this little video can't address everything that relates to every kind of suffering. So if you're really looking for a personal answer to that, reach out on our Facebook page. One of our church's members would love to sit down with you and listen to what you've been through and read the Bible with you personally. The first thing I want to do in this little video is just show that a good God can exist with all of the suffering. Some people claim that if a good God existed, he could not allow these bad things to happen. But let me ask you this. Is it logically reasonable to believe that a good surgeon could cause his patients some suffering? Of course it is. Well, I think that applies to God too. God could have good reasons for the suffering that he allows. And so it is not logically impossible for a good God to exist with all of this suffering. But you'll probably be asking then, okay, so then what are his reasons for my suffering? Well, the short, honest answer is, I don't know. The Bible doesn't tell us every reason for everything that God is doing in the world. But what I do want to do is give you 3 reasons for why I think you should still come close to God in your suffering. Okay? The first reason is because God gives purpose to all of our suffering. If there is no God, then none of our suffering matters. It's all just an unlucky part of a violent, mindless evolutionary process. But if there is a God, a person behind all of it, then all of it matters. We may not know how it matters, but God alone can give purpose to all of our suffering. Second, it's because God gives reasons for some suffering. If you read the Bible, it reveals some of God's reasons, some of the things that he's doing in our lives. And what you find there is that they are good and right and compassionate reasons. Third, and most important, it's because God gives himself in our suffering. God doesn't just give an inspirational quote for a sufferer to get through things. He doesn't just coldly list his reasons for why their suffering is necessary. No, the Bible says that God himself comes close to sufferers and comforts them in it. So if your suffering has pushed you away from God, I just want you to consider turning around and going the other way. Consider coming close to him. You can trust that God will give purpose to all of your suffering. He'll give reasons for some of your suffering, and best of all, he will give himself in your suffering.